Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Survivor Org podcast. I'm your host, Colin Connors. My wonderful co-host, Dennis Patrick, is lost at sea still, but I have with me a very special guest from Survivor Nicaragua, the wonderful Jimmy T.
Hey, Colin, thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. So, Jimmy, how have you been?
I've been real well. Life after Survivor goes on. I think 90% of us all dream of playing again, and particularly me, where I blew the game so bad, and having all the skills to be able to do well. But you learn a tremendous amount from playing the game, so you're able to apply it in life, and hopefully if you ever get a chance, maybe back in the game.
Well, how did you get on the show Survivor?
Well, I was the one and only, I believe, casting call contest winner. Sears is one of the Survivor's major sponsors, and one year they did a casting call contest where you just went online and submitted a 1-minute video, and then CBS selected 10 finalists, and then America voted for 2 weeks, and that was part of the process. That was my experience was, you know, the in-game stuff was one thing, but I had such an experience from getting on and after the game was a tremendous experience. So,
what was that like being America's player, and how many votes did you get? Do you know?
Well, you know, it's kind of like I'm making excuses, Colin, but honest to God, I think that contributed to. I'm a competitive guy, as just about everybody that goes on Survivor. I think they go for type A personalities, you know, people that are competitive. But for me to have to go through that process where I had to go through the voting process, and that if you won the vote, you won a trip to California to get an interview with the producers. You weren't guaranteed to be on the show. So I had all my friends out voting. I spent 2 weeks not sleeping to make sure I got the interview in California, because I knew damn well if I made it to meet the producers, I'd get on the show in the interview process. But what I didn't know was I went from 2 weeks not sleeping to make sure I cranked out the vote to immediately fly into L.A., not sleeping, then taking all the tests, and everything was just a whirlwind after that.
So what was the time frame like from when you first entered the contest to when you set foot on the island?
Well, the contest took place in January. I had some time to prepare in between. It was a couple of months. So I knew I won the contest, I think, in February. So it was a couple of months before we actually went in-game. But I think the pressure was the fact that so many people voted out. I really felt, you know, everybody goes in and wants to do well for their friends and family. But I felt like I had the weight of the country on my back because I didn't want to let people down. You know, I'm a loyal person. Just like my friends and family are loyal to me, I'm twice as loyal to them, and I don't want to let people down. So I just blew it by going in and going all in from day one.
On the show, how did you prepare yourself?
Yeah, that's another thing. I really, because I'm pretty competitive physically, I compete in rowing races. So I was in good shape, but I started trying to do balance things and yoga and things like that because, you know, a lot of the challenges are balance type things. So but you know what? That really doesn't play in the game. I can tell. You got a lot of Survivor fans that are your listeners. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The most hardcore fans.
There's the simple, easiest instruction anybody can have going into Survivor is take it easy in the beginning. Don't make the mistake I made. I played hard. I didn't sleep. I worked my butt off for 3 days without sleep and nutrition. Anybody, it doesn't matter if they're a top Olympic athlete, is going to weigh yourself down. So it's all about appearances, and if you look like you're working hard without really killing yourself, you can stay fresher and stay sharper too. I went all in right from the very beginning, figuring I'll show these people what a great value I am to the tribe. I built the shelter, I provided all the food. But unfortunately, in the game of Survivor, that doesn't count for anything. You just become a threat and put a target on your back.
Is that what led to your demise, helping out so much and putting a target on your back like that?
Yeah, that, and I didn't really, you know, you got to play the game. I wasn't a big Survivor fan. My sister was, and she knew physically and mentally. If it's me just being me, I had all the tools to win the game. But I went in so hard and so all in, I just blew it. I wasn't even playing the game. I was treating it like real life. So people that were, I had a lot of shifty characters in my tribe as well. Mm-hmm. So that really, I have a low tolerance for evil.
Yeah. So let's go back a little bit. You first walk out on the island, and then Jeff Probst says it's old versus young. What was your initial response to that?
I thought that was good for me because I was ready to compete with all these young guys on our season. I saw Chase and Shannon and Fabio that eventually won. I'm like, oh, I can hang with these guys physically, no problem. I think I can hold my own. And then when I knew that I would just be with the older people, I thought I'd do even better.
Your season had the ill-used Medallion of Power. How did that affect your game?
Oh, that was the one season that had. Now, this is gonna sound crazy to you, Colin. I don't think that played a huge role at all, and that's why they quickly dumped it the very next season. But because I actually did give a lot of valuable stuff that you never get to see because I got voted off so early.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought I might be coming back in later years, because the very next season they came back with Redemption Island. And I thought it was maybe because production people said, geez, if you get voted off early in the game, they're not going to portray you in a good light because then they lose ratings, right?
Yeah. They want to keep the good edits for the heroes and for the people that get the final five.
And they have to justify the vote. Otherwise, if they showed me as I really was, the 12 days I was in the game, and all the home viewers would be saying, wow, that guy built the shelter, he provided all the food, he was good to the fan. And, there were scenes like, there was one night I was singing, and they showed everybody making faces at me like I was being the most annoying guy. But what I was doing was keeping up the motivation because a couple of the girls wanted to quit that night. And they literally thanked me the next day. Thanks for being upbeat and getting us through the night, But that doesn't come across that way, when they show it, because if Jesus Christ was on there and he got voted off, they would portray him to make him look like more the devil because, they don't want...
They have to tell a story.
They have to, back up. They have to justify the vote.
Did you have any kind of really good first impressions of people on the younger tribe? I mean, you kind of touched off about this with Chase and Fabio. Were there any of the girls that you thought you saw in the younger tribe that you would have liked to work with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the whole younger tribe I had made friends with prior to the game. You can't really talk to anybody going in, but you see them and you get a vibe from them. But you're not allowed to communicate with them at all. But I can give a funny anecdote. Pre-game, you hang out at Ponderosa again while you're getting briefed on the season, right? Mm-hmm. And then, so I'm a pretty good swimmer because I come from a coastal town. So I figure I'm going to, even though I can't communicate, I can show them that I'm going to be valuable in swimming challenges. So I dive down, swim under the pool, do a little flip at the under end of the pool, come back, and then slowly come up to the surface and break the water and smile. I see Fabio over there. Well, a little bit, I know the kid's a surfer boy, so he gets to the pool, does the same thing, flips at the end, comes back, flips at the other end, and comes back and smiles right back. So we had a little joke between us. So there were a lot of those little things you can't, even though you can't communicate, you can kind of, a wink and a nod. So I was getting along with all the younger people prior to the game in that way. And having spoken to them afterwards, of course, at the finale and the reunion, they said, wow, we were really looking forward to, working with you. So I'm like, wow, too bad I got on the Espada trip.
Why was Wendy voted out first?
Why was Wendy voted out first?
Wendy, yes.
I hated that Wendy got voted out first because once I got to know her afterwards, we became very good friends. And she's actually a brilliant person, which you wouldn't know it to listen to the sound of her voice, and that was part of her demise. She's got a strong New York accent that sounds kind of silly. Mm-hmm. But she's actually a retired colonel from the Army by the age of 50 who can ride a wheelie down the street, an expert horseback rider. She's multi-talented. So and it's a perfect, Survivor is a great analogy for life because we all judge people before we even really get a chance to know them. And you find out quickly that if you take the time to get to know somebody, you don't realize that everybody has value and everybody has skills set, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I took from the game. But so, the other thing about Wendy, we're all sitting around the camp one night, and I was the big part of her demise, unfortunately, because we were talking about, you know, the other tribe. Nayanka, I said, I don't know that girl, but she sure got a Beyonce butt, and everybody had a big laugh, and Wendy says, what? Because she lives on a goat farm, you know.
Yeah.
She lives on a big ranch, taking care of goats, and she's got all kinds of critters she needs to take care and tend the farm. So she doesn't read, you know, People magazine or watch much TV or anything like that. So she didn't even know who Beyonce was. So I started teasing. I go, come on, you never heard of Beyonce? And she says, well, I don't live in a big city. I go, well, you live on Earth, don't you? And we all laughed at her. And then it was kind of like a joke, like she was from another planet because she didn't even know who Beyonce was. Mm. So that, unfortunately, not intentionally, but I think I might have had something to do with the reason why, you know, she was easy to vote off after that when nobody really knew each other yet.
So you kind of, you didn't mean to, but you alienated her, is what you're saying.
Yeah, right, and it was unintentional. Mm-hmm. But that's part of, you know, and then you saw, if you watched that season, she really alienated herself by trying to talk her way back in. She just
kept digging herself deeper and deeper, it seemed like.
Yeah. But you know something? Can I tell you one thing I really feel strongly about, Colin?
Go right ahead, sir.
I think the producers of Survivor had a great concept there with the older versus younger, but their casting didn't really work well because we had a lot of selfish people in the Espada tribe. If you took older people from seasons like Bob Crowley, I became good friends with since, Jane and myself from my season, and Holly, who's a sweet girl from Montana, and Wendy, and even Jillian Lawson from Gabon. You put that bunch of old people together, we'll kick some ass.
Well, I hope they do a season where they bring back you and Jillian, because I think you are both two players that kind of got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, you know, it's tough. It's amazing, too, is another huge lesson you learn from being in the game is perceptions, you know. Mm-hmm. You look at me in that game, and I was just an annoying person. And you know what? I earned that because I didn't have the patience to go in, and I just wanted it so bad. I tried too hard, and I didn't sleep at all for 3 days. Mm-hmm. And that'll kill anybody, you know. So I wasn't on top of my game. I didn't even play the game. So I learned from my experience that you got to, and again, all these experiences you can apply to life. You got to be patient.
Early on in the game, did you have any early alliances or any friendships that we didn't get to see as of yore?
Yep. Right in the very beginning, everybody around before you get a chance to talk to them, and I saw Dr. Jill, who looked very wholesome, and she had those bracelets at the time. They were very popular. They're shaped like little animals, like little kids give them to their parents and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think my little sister has those.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? Those little stretchy rubber bracelets, when you take them off, they turn into the shape of an animal or something. Well, she had several of those, so I says, well, here's a wholesome, healthy mom, Americana, and that's what I thought she'd be a good one to be in alliance with. Mm-hmm. So as soon as we got in-game, I said, I'm going to check out the area, see what I can, you know, get my bearings on the area and see what I can find. So I immediately went walking around and went to where the water was, and there was the first clue was nailed to the top of the cover for the well. And I found the first clue, which you never saw. Mm-hmm. And Joe was walking right behind me, so I thought, well, I'll share it with her. And, of course, she ended up giving that clue to Marty. She was quite stricken with Marty, as you can tell. Excuse me, let me use the other word. I thought rather smitten with Marty. Mm-hmm. I mean, who takes the clue? If you remember, I don't know what week that was. You know, I think it was just after I got voted off when she finally figured it out. She told him exactly where the immunity idol was hidden and told him to go get it. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. And that's not something you would have done, would you?
Oh, who in the history of Survivor has found a clue and told somebody else where to go get it? It was was amazing to me. And so we had that early alliance, and then after I had a little meltdown, which, again, I can't blame her because I was totally way put myself out. I was chopping bamboo for 3 days in a row without sleeping. And, so she broke that alliance. We said that we set when we found that first clue.
Oh, wow.
So, you know.
What was Jimmy Johnson like? Because Jimmy Johnson is this huge, star. He's a world-famous coach. What was that like?
Jimmy, I was... I'll give you one scenario. Now, Jimmy was a lot better off at Ponderosa when there were plenty of people around, food and drink around. He's the life of the party. But in the game, sometimes he was tired. And he wasn't always friendly with everybody. I'll give you an example. Well, on the end of the beach in Nicaragua, there was a tidal pool. At half tide, you could go sit and mend all your wounds in the salt water. The rocks, everybody would sit around the tidal pool. Jane found it. We called it Jane's Spa. So one tide, Jane and I were walking down the beach close to the water, walking to Jane's Spa. And Jimmy was walking parallel to us up the beach. So I called out to him, Jimmy, we're going down the spa. You going down the spa? And he looked at me and Jane and just looked ahead and just kept walking.
Oh, wow.
So I said, well, because the surf was strong there, I said, Jane, you think he didn't hear me? What was that all about? She goes, oh, he heard you, honey. We just ain't rich enough for him.
Ooh.
there were several incidences where Jimmy didn't have... I'll give you another example. After it was about day 9 and we were going into a challenge. He hadn't living with these people 24/7 for 9 days, right? I got to know everybody and a little bit about their families and what they did for a living. Well, once the cameras were rolling for Jimmy Johnson to give one of his speeches, he's like, all right, we're going to do this challenge, boys and girls, because we got Marty here who's smart, and we got Jimmy T and Tyrone for strength, and we got this young lady here, and this young lady. He didn't even know the names. It was day 9.
Wow.
Still didn't know who Holly and one of, I forget, I don't know if it was Eve. It was bizarre. So, I mean, maybe I know he was tired. You saw he got sick early on. Maybe the heat got to him. I don't know.
So it sounds to me like that Jimmy wasn't really playing the game either.
He played the game with who he thought, the characters that he needed to play with. He was pretty tight with Marty and Jill later on when Marty and Jill became tight. And then Danny was just Marty's boy, you know what I mean? He would do whatever Marty said. And that's, Marty took early control of the tribe. And hats off to him because he was playing the game.
What was Marty like in person? Because he was portrayed as a pretty big villain.
Yeah, he was. He and I didn't see eye to eye in the game. Probably because, again, I was aggressive and might have been not his cup of tea. But I remember times where, and again, he was playing the game. He was playing smart. We would go to a challenge, and after you see what the challenge is like, you discuss how you're going to play it. You get a minute or two to discuss it before you start it. So Marty would lay it all out. He was the man, and I was content to sit back. And then I'll give you an example, the challenge where we were going to throw the bean bags, right? Throw the bean bags and land them on the barrels. Some of them were closer, some of them were far away. So he lays it all out. He says, okay, so I'll start, and then Tyrone, and then... So I sat back and I said, can I just say one thing? And he would intentionally, not look at me. And he'd say, and so then maybe we'll see this or that. And then I would wait, and I'd say, all right, can I just add one thing? I was just trying to say, make sure you throw a high arc so that the bean bags land on the barrel and don't just skip off the top. But he wouldn't let me get that 2 cents in at the end, you know what I mean? He was playing pretty, and he knew it was irritating me, and it worked like a charm.
So he was basically playing you so that way you would put a target on your back.
Absolutely. Oh. Yep. He played a great game. He's the nature of his business. I'm from a fishing port. I'm a fisherman by background, heritage, and I'm just honest and go out there and work as hard as you can and do the best you can. But he's from more of a corporate world, so he's used to playing games and manipulating and boardrooms and, smarter at that game type of thing.
How hard was it for you as a leader to go into a game like Survivor when you couldn't necessarily be that leader?
Man, it really wasn't that hard. I wasn't trying to be the leader, and that's how I got portrayed, obviously. And I am a leader here, and I did say that a couple of times. I just wanted to contribute and win a couple of challenges. What Marty was doing wasn't designed to win challenges. He didn't care if we won challenges or not. He was in control. So if we lost challenges, he would just get rid of. So, you notice the people that he systematically voted off afterwards was in a row. It's Jimmy Johnson, me, and Tyrone. Anyone that might have threatened him a little, he eliminated. Mm-hmm. So I was just wanting to contribute. For example, I give you that same challenge with the beanbag toss. Tyrone threw about 50 air balls in a row. If I had got let in that challenge, and I was telling Jimmy, just give me a chance, put me in. You're wasting me on the bench. If he put me in that challenge, we could have won that challenge, and nobody went home.
What you're saying is Marty just didn't care. He just wanted his control.
Yeah, he was playing a lead. He played a great game up until, but he was, he's shifty, and even when he was making his plans, he's looking around. He's not looking you direct in the eye when you're talking to him, and the young people figured him out quick. Yeah. That's why it was easy for Dan to jump on board because he wasn't contributing anything anyway. Yeah. So he was going to go with who he thought would get him the farthest. A smart move right there. It tied on to Marty's equal strings. Jill was sitting with him. She jumped on board. Yeah. Eve was going to do whatever got her the farthest, and she jumped on board with that. You know what I mean?
So why do you think the young people were able to figure out Marty so quickly when you guys, the older, wiser group, couldn't?
I don't think we couldn't. Jane was on to him right off the bat. Holly figured him out. Wendy would have had she been there. I don't know. I think, and again, the game is incredibly unlike anything you've ever experienced. And I think that's why Survivor people, even the people, I didn't see eye to eye with Marty, but I totally, afterwards, respect what he did. He played the game well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Good for him because he was smart enough to get rid of me. Because as people and characters got to know each other better, then I may have fared more well later in the game. But I'm sorry, I forgot the specific question. I digressed on you.
Oh, you answered it. It was how come the younger tribe was able to figure out Marty and you guys weren't? You did answer that sufficiently. What I want to know is, on the day you were voted out, did you know it was going to be you?
I wasn't really sure. Marty had me told me that they were going to try to keep the tribe strong. He was always telling me that into my face. And that's another thing. It's very difficult to watch 2 months later to watch how things played out because it's not what you thought when you were in the game, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So Marty was convincing me that we were going to keep the tribe strong and I was in good shape. So I thought Danny was going home pretty much.
Why was Dan picked over you?
Danny was Marty's boy. There was one tribal council where you can actually see Danny pat Marty on the back. Like, he was the greatest thing for this life. To me, because, I try to talk to Dan, but he's not saying, I'm Sicilian Italian, he's more like New York Italian. I thought we'd get along good because we're both Italian, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But, he tries to be like a wise guy. He thinks he's like a big shot Italian guy. I'm just a regular working class Italian guy, so he didn't like me too much.
And you think maybe because he saw Marty as more of the big shot guy, and that's why he aligned with Marty over you, maybe?
But I think, him and Marty were in an alliance. Marty, I'm sure, probably promised him he was going to take him far, and he did.
Mm-hmm. Dan got, I believe, 4th place? Or 5th place.
Every season's different, too. Sometimes people go for character, and sometimes people are all selfishly playing the game for their own interests. Again, it sounds like I'm a whiny guy making a lot of excuses, but I got a tough tribe. Take a look at the characters of the Espada tribe, and you'll see there weren't a lot of good-hearted people in my season. I mean, I wouldn't say my season. My tribe, Espada, was tough. Espada was a good name for the tribe because I got the shaft with that sword. But you know what? There really is. You know what? I tell people a lot, and I hope I learned a lot from the experience. I know I learned a lot from the experience. So, you know, Fabio won that season, got that $1 million prize, and he was a good kid. He didn't offend anybody. That's why he won. But I don't know if he got what I got out of the whole experience, just learning so much about perceptions and not to judge people for what you first think they are, and get to take the time to appreciate everybody and value them all. Here's the girl, Wendy, that never even got a shot, that could have been a great player, but she never even saw the second tribal council, you know what I mean? She got voted out early and never even got a shot to play the game, and she's multi-talented. People would have really got she's a genuinely good-hearted person, and nobody ever got the chance to know that, you know?
What would have happened if you would have made the tribe swap that happened, I believe, the episode after you got voted out?
I would have been in good shape. And you know what? On the season, Holly was actually telling me that, but I thought Holly had lost it when she went a little cuckoo with, first she took Dan's shoes and buried those, and next she took periwinkles. I had gathered a bunch of periwinkles and cooked. We eat them around here. Mm-hmm. Italian people, periwinkles are called babalugis. And we eat them with a pit and put them in a tomato sauce and put them in the pasta. Mm-hmm. So we gathered all that. I gathered a bunch of those, and that was protein, right? So I was feeding the tribe protein. And Holly thought they were making everybody sick. So she took them. I don't know if you remember that. She was dumping the periwinkles. I'm like, what are you doing? Throwing away food? I go, yeah, I thought she was having a meltdown. So after she threw away the shoes, then she threw away the food, I'm like, this girl's nuts. So she come up to me and said to me, and this was on the show too, I think it's going to be a mix-up. They're going to mix the tribes up. And some of the young people are going to go over here, and some of us are going to go over there. And I'm like, listen, Holly, you're thinking too much. Relax. Take it easy. But she was exactly correct. Mm-hmm. And she says, I'll have some water. But she was exactly right on. I should have listened to her and strategized a little more with her, because, you know, she was trying to play the game. And she's done very well with Survivors. Look how far she won the game. Mm-hmm. And she played the game. So if I would have listened to her and tried to band with her, and Jane and I were good friends in the game and after the game. I just did a big fundraiser up here for Jillian's Reality Rally, and Jane came up for that, and we've become good friends both in and out of the game.
Well, I've had Holly and Dr. Jill both on the podcast before, and they were both lovely. But here's a little tip for all you Survivor people. If you notice, anytime there's a season with a theme, either it be like young versus old or the one world, there's always a switch on the 4th episode. Keep that in mind.
Is it always on the 4th episode, or is it only if one tribe gets decimated pretty badly?
It's always on the 4th episode if there's a theme, or if there's a tribe decimated badly, and sometimes it happens randomly, like in Survivor Gabon. But it tends to happen around the 4th episode, unless there's like a Cook Island scenario where there's multiple tribes.
Yeah, see, those are valuable tips. It's guys like you that really know the game. That can all come in really valuable and make you play the game. And again, I'm going to give you all your listeners that have intentions to play the game one day, use your smarts and just play the game and relax and enjoy the experience. And you play so much better because you'll be fun to be around. You know, I was way too intense because I was trying too hard. Mm-hmm. Mark Burnett told us all on Survivor Nicaragua just before we were in the game. He says, "Listen, you guys this experience is going to go by so fast. It's going to be like a dream. It's going to be all over, and you're going to say, that's it. So make sure you take a moment," he told us, to really take a look around and realize where you are and enjoy being there. And that was great advice. I remember the first night I saw the Southern Cross, I was at the beach in Nicaragua going, this is that moment Mark Burnett was talking about. This is awesome. And I had a great night, you know. But what I wish I took that advice and applied it to every moment of that game. And just go and have fun. And you'll see the people that really are enjoying the process are the ones that always do well, because you're having fun, and whenever you're having fun, the people around you are having fun and going to enjoy having you around. And again, let's put that into life. It's the same thing. So I have a much more positive outlook in life now because I try to just enjoy the process.
Your season had 2 people quit the game. When you were watching that at home, how angry were you?
You know, having that night where I was singing the songs and I saw a couple girls ready to quit on my tribe, I can understand it. And it's harder to understand for people that haven't been in that game and spent a couple of those nights that seem to last forever, when the rain's dripping on your head and you can't sleep and you know, and your body's shaking uncontrollably for hour after hour after hour. So I was less angry than other people might have been, but I was very disappointed. Of course, they weren't on my tribe. I would have been even more mad if they were on my tribe, saying, there's so many people in the world dying for an opportunity to play this game, and these people are just walking away. Mm-hmm. But again, unless you go 3 nights without sleep and food and go through that kind of suffering, you'd be a little more understanding.
When you got voted out, what was Ponderosa like with Jimmy Johnson and Eve and Tyrone and Jill? What did you guys do? Was that a fun place to be?
Yeah, well, because I was an early boo, we only went to Ponderosa until the jury people start coming, and then we leave Ponderosa and went elsewhere, so that the Ponderosa could be the jury people. But the big thing about being part of the Survivor experience is, if you are an early boo, you get a vacation of a lifetime. Because, again, we're all type A personalities, and we've just been through the most traumatic. We all go in thinking we're going to win, and you're away in another country, dejected, without your family and friends, and you can't even call them or talk to them. So they know to keep you very well entertained and distracted. Mm-hmm. So this, not only is there Ponderosa, but there's, okay, let's go on an excursion. What do you guys want to do? And you can go zip wire in the canopy. And the best day with Jimmy Johnson was deep sea fishing, because he loves to fish. Mm-hmm. And we had a blast deep sea fishing off the coast of Nicaragua. And just hanging by the pool, drinking Cuba Libre. Everything's beautiful when you're
yeah. When you're well fed and all that fun stuff.
If you just want $100,000 vacation, go on Survivor, get booted first, and you got a 46-day amazing vacation where everything is on Uncle Mark. He's picking up the food and the booze and the tours and the excursions and horseback riding on the beach, and we did so much.
Well, now I have to play Survivor. Now there's no reason not for me to play it.
I'm telling you, it's a great experience, and it's again, I wasn't experienced enough to know to play the game. I just went in treating it like real life. And in my life, I've always been able to, if it was a reality thing, a real thing, and me and 20 people are really on a deserted island, that's the way I was treating it. So I was providing value. That was a big mistake in the game of the Survivor, because it's not about that. It's about, all the schmoozing and gameplay.
Well, I have a random curveball question for you. Are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, and this is coming out of nowhere, but I like to ask this to every single Survivor player I interview. Can you do any celebrity impressions?
I can do several celebrity impressions.
What's your best one?
I don't know. Let me think. Give me a second, and I'll come up.
All right, go right ahead.
Now, I'm getting a little nervous on a thing. I can. Oh, shoot!
If it's really bad, we can edit it out. Don't worry.
All right, no. I'll give you one. Is it okay if it's an animation character?
Of course. I haven't had one of those yet.
Oh, my girl, you've done it again.
I don't think I know that one.
Oh, you're too young. You don't remember Mr. Magoo?
No, I'm 20 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, Google search Mr. Magoo, and you'll hear that exact thing. Oh, Magoo, you've done it again.
Do you have any other ones? Any more
Anything
recent?
a little more modern?
Yeah.
All right, give me a second. Oh, I don't know. I guess I'm feeling a little embarrassed now because you didn't know Mr. Magoo.
Well, I should be more familiar with cartoons. I am studying films, so I should be more prepared.
Well, the voice is Jim Backus, who played Mr. Howell on Gilligan's Island. You ever hear of that show?
I do know Gilligan's Island.
Yeah,
and in fact, my opening when I said Dennis was lost at sea, that's a reference to Gilligan's Island.
You know, Thurston Howard III was the rich guy stranded on Gilligan's Island.
Ah.
That character was Jim Backus. He was a famous actor a million years ago. Now I'm showing my age.
When the dinosaurs were on the planet?
Excuse me?
When the dinosaurs were on the planet, that's when he was a star?
No, Gilligan's Island was on. That was only 30 years ago.
What's your life been like post-Survivor? What have you been up to?
Well, I'm a seafood inspector. I work for the Department of Commerce, and I ensure seafood quality, both in product and process. So that's my area of expertise. Jillian has family in Boston, and I've taken her out on my harbor. I'm a dory rower, and self-proclaimed best Grand Banks dory rower in the world. Currently considering rowing across the country in the intercontinental waterways. But anyway, I took her out to the island here with her grandchildren. We became fast friends, and Jilly is just the nicest person in the world. So, yeah, I just made a lot of good friends and learned a lot through the process.
Let's talk about Reality Rally. How long have you been involved with that?
This is going to be my first year going out there because the first year Jillian told me about it in California. We're going to come up with California for a fundraiser. You know, I didn't really give it much consideration. I said, thanks, I would like to help. I don't know if I can afford it. You know, I just didn't really look into it much. Mm-hmm. And then when I told her, if you're ever on the East Coast, though, look me up and I'll take you for a dory ride. Mm-hmm. And she did because she's got a daughter that lives up in the Boston area. So that's when she explained it to me, and I felt her passion for Michelle's Place, and I actually went on her website, realityrally.com, and watched the video of what a special place Michelle's Place is. And once you see that video and hear the Watson family, you're like, you know what, I got to try to help a little. So, and then once I got involved and talking to Julian, and you know, caring is contagious, and seeing all these people that care to help and working to help, I said, I got to do a little something more. So I actually had a fundraiser out here with the help of Bob Crowley and Jane, and then my friends, the fishermen from Expedition Impossible from my area. So we put on a fundraiser. Next thing I know, guys from Wicked Tuna are coming and other guys from Expedition Impossible. We had a little mini reality rally of our own and raised over $4,000 for Michelle's Place.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to going out there in April and having a little more fun and maybe raising some more money for a great cause. All you have to do is donate $2 or $5. Don't feel like you're being cheap if you don't donate $100, you know. And so if you go to realityrally.com, you can go click on the lineup for 2013 stars, go to Jimmy T and make a $2 donation, and that $2 added up with other $2 could save a life. If you help a woman get early detection for breast cancer, what better contribution can you make? For $2, you saved a life.
True that. How much money have you raised so far just through the website? Do you know?
I don't know because I've gotten so many other contributions and other people that donated to me, corporate matches. I would say just through donations through the website, probably $400, $500, $600 myself.
Well, that's good though. That's enough for one mammogram.
Oh, actually, so $400 costs for the mammogram. So I raised that and beyond. But you know what? Jillian's trying to give me all this kind of credit. If it wasn't for Book Crowley on the marquee and Jane Hammett Bright on the marquee and all these other guys and all the other people that donated things in my community here in Gloucester, Massachusetts, who all turned out for the event, I wouldn't have raised anywhere near that much money. So it was a collaboration of good-hearted people. Oh, hey, I got to know when I can do great because I used to box, and there was one about a fighter, Marlon Brando, on the waterfront.
Ooh, you can do that one, the contender line?
Yeah, you don't understand the clients. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am, let's face it. How's that?
That was actually really good. I've seen that movie multiple times, and I consider myself a Brando fan. You get the seal of approval of a 21-year-old. I don't know how much that means, but you get it.
It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. Listen, I can also do Beyonce. If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it. But that's a little embarrassing, and you have to see the dance that goes along with it.
Well, the next time we talk, we can do a webcam, and we can do that.
Believe me, that's the last thing you want to see. But I have fun with it when I've been drinking.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It means a lot to me and all my viewers.
That was my pleasure, Carl.